So here in the United States, we have a major problem. And that problem is happening in states like California and Florida. However, according to experts, because of what is happening in those two states, and because of what certain companies are attempting to do, this is actually going to put more pressure on those companies and those states to push the responsibility and the payments over to you. And that doesn't mean people that live in those two states. That means people that live in states like Washington, Texas, New York, and everywhere else. So, if you live in the United States, you need to watch this video because what is about to happen is going to hurt millions and millions of people. So I'll break all this down in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So why is what is happening over in the state of California and Florida? Why is that so important to everybody else in the United States? Well, first you need to understand what is happening in those two states. First, in California, we have wildfires like never before. We in Florida are seeing hurricanes. Look at this. It says at least 64 dead and millions without power after Helene's deadly march across the southeast. According to a recent report, we are going to see anywhere from $20 to $34 billion in damages. $20 to $34 billion. That is a massive amount of money. That is a massive burden to put on insurance companies. Insurance companies have been making a boatload of money. You know why? They just keep raising rates. Your premiums keep getting more expensive, especially if you live in the states of California and Florida. But it doesn't stop there. And I want to show you something. Look at this right here. It says Florida homeowners still face an insurance crisis in the wake of Hurricane Helene. Now, what does that mean? Why are they facing this crisis? Well, I want to read a little bit of this article to you. Okay? Look at this right here. It says about 950,000 million Floridians, 1 million Georgians, 1.2 million South Carolinians, and 750,000 North Carolinians were without power as of midday on Friday, according to utilities tracker poweroutage.us. While southeastern states are being hit hard on Friday afternoon, the damage and death toll in Florida is so far less than many feared. But the storm calls into focus an already difficult part of living in Florida. Home insurance. That's the key. People can't afford home insurance. Many people have simply gotten rid of homeowners insurance. Renters insurance, same thing, gotten rid of it. Car insurance, many people gotten rid of it. You know what's happening right now? People that were trying to go and save the world, save our climate, right? Get an electric car. Well, the problem is when electric cars get submerged in salt water, they catch on fire. So a lot of these cars, well, for one, they're going to have water damage, but number two, they're going to have fire damage as well, which these are irreparable. You can't repair these. These are just totaled. But look at this. It says right here, Florida was the fastest growing state in 2022 according to census population data, but some residents have since started souring on the Sunshine State, in part because of rising prices, including increasingly expensive insurance premiums. It says the typical Florida household paid over $10,000 for home insurance in 2023, according to data from Insurify. Yeah, prices keep going up, and many people can't pay for it. But this is the reason why I bring this to your attention. Because now companies, and even one politician, are now starting to say, we need to spread this property insurance risk nationwide. We cannot hold on to all the risk here in the state of Florida and California. We need to make sure we spread it out so that we aren't just increasing prices to people in Florida and California. No, we'll just increase prices a very small amount to every single person that has a policy through our company. Look at this right here. It says Representative Jared Moskowitz wants to spread property insurance risks nationally. It says Hurricane Helene's ultimate impact is still being discovered. But a congressional Democrat who served previously as Florida's Director of Emergency Management thinks it's necessary to smooth out the impacts for storms nationally and spread the risks around. Okay. So here on the West Coast, we get fires, right? Washington State, Oregon, California, we get a lot of fires. Well, in the Midwest, right? In the South, we get tornadoes. Over in the Southeast and over on the East Coast, we get hurricanes, right? And yes, we get some earthquakes, from time to time. But again, can we spread those risks nationally? Possibly. But for those that live in the center of the country, you are probably going to overpay for homeowners insurance and car insurance and renter's insurance. You're just going to overpay because in the center of the country, things are not as expensive as they are on either the East or West Coast. Now, I want to read a little bit more of this to you. It says, during a Fox News interview Sunday morning, so that was just today, Representative Jared Moskowitz championed legislation he'd filed to create a national catastrophic insurance fund. Says it would add no money to the deficit. It would allow states to buy bonds that when we have these 1 in 1,000 year storms would take that off of the plates of the insurance companies, which is driving up 25% of the cost on reinsurance. It says even if my bill doesn't move or go anywhere, I think the United States government and Congress has to start realizing that we have to amortize the risk. We have to spread the risk around, he added. It can't just be on one state or two states to deal with this. Just like FEMA spreads risk around when there's a big disaster, FEMA comes in and helps local cities, counties, and states recover. I think we're going to have to do the same thing in the insurance market. Is he trying to get the insurance companies on his side? Again, keep in mind we have an election coming up. Is he trying to put the responsibility on the federal government and the American people and take it away from the insurance companies just because the insurance companies keep on driving up costs? And what I think is interesting about this, because we've talked about this before, is what's interesting is when there is a storm, a fire, insurance costs go up. But what about when there's nothing? What about when we have no, people aren't submitting these claims because they just have small damage, right? Little flood, right? Just 1-2 cases here and there, not an entire city filing a claim. But we don't see prices go down, right? We don't see them give us our money back, do we? And so now that things are getting more expensive, yes, we got to pay a little bit more, right? Obviously. But what do we do? Where does that stop? That's the big question. But again, this is why so many people are just concerned about what's going on, is because we know those two states, Florida and California, where they keep increasing prices for homeowners, for drivers. Where does it stop? That's the big question. Where does it stop? Because in the end, we are all going to pay. We will end up paying more for something that is probably not even affecting us here in our states. But because of what's going on in Florida and California, we are now being asked to pay more to help them, the people, the insurance companies, with that burden. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you think this is fair? Do you think this is something that we should be discussing? Or what is the best move to get out of this? Let me know down in the comment section below. But that is what I have for you guys today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.